Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tier 2. I am so glad you're here. Today's date is Monday, June 9th, 2025. In this video, we're going to be asking the question, is Gavin Newsom about to FAFO? I say that because earlier today, he made televised comments saying that President Trump was welcome to arrest him for the opposition he has to the ICE raids that are happening in his city. Now let's look at a quick timeline about these developments, okay? Um, on the 6th of last Friday, June 6th, ICE raids happened in Los Angeles in the Fashion District, and 45 people were detained, and that sparked some protests. Okay, then those turned into clashes and riots against the LAPD and ICE officers. So on the Saturday, June 7th, protests escalated in Paramount and Compton, the clashes with federal forces. Trump federalized the California National Guard. He deployed 300 troops, or they did, with 118 undocumented immigrants were arrested. Yesterday on Sunday, protests continued for the third day. Bricks have been delivered to downtown LA, which always tells us peaceful protests are just about to start. The National Guard arrived in LA with tear gas, rubber bullets were used, again, trying to use non lethal deterrent methods. 5 Waymo cars were burned and freeway blockades occurred. There were 50 or more than 56 arrests on Sunday. Well, today the protests continue, and these are, again, this is happening in a news hub, which means it'll get lots of coverage, and indeed it has. Governor Newsom declared he plans to sue the Trump administration over the National Guard deployment. The ACLU and EIU plan further demonstrations. The riots continue. And again, as I said, and it's on record, Governor Newsom 2.0 said, dared Trump to have him arrested. Well, are there grounds for an arrest? There may indeed be, because we have a law on the books. It's been there for a long time, USC 1324, which talks about the penalties for bringing in and harboring certain aliens. You can be arrested under this statute if you encourage or induce, especially when there's reckless disregard, which would be, with the protests going on and the bricks being thrown and the incendiaries being used. To encourage or induce an alien to come to and to reside in the United States in violation of law, which those publicized welcomes of his, I seem qualified right there. Aiding and abetting is also an element that can be make you liable to be prosecuted. That is engaging in a conspiracy to commit or aiding, abetting the commission of those offenses we talked about already. That's also a crime. So the aiding and abetting is. Then, of course, there's harboring and transporting, which also seem to be the most commonly used elements of that statute. But again, especially where the Governor Newsom is in a position of authority, extending that welcome and having that sanctuary status, he was already skating the line. So we want to ask the universe for some insights and information about that. Before we do, I'd like to explain my personal opinion, that Laura's view, that Governor Newsom is a 2.0. Some years back, there was alt media chatter that the original Governor Newsom had been consequenced for acts that harmed little ones. And I think that that reporting was accurate, because there was an absence for a while of Governor Newsom on the scene. When one showed up, there were some obvious dental differences, and the Governor Newsom 2.0 seemed to have some, well, he looked quite a bit like the original, and I'm sure there's been some efforts since to make that resemblance even more striking. He was having a little trouble speaking as the original had. So that tells me that this wasn't a white hat stand in. This was the deep state bringing in someone to try to keep their agenda going, their particular placeholders. So this 2.0 is not a good one in Laura's view. But he is indeed a 2.0 as far as the cards can tell me, and as far as my logic and discernment tells me, we're dealing with a 2.0, but not one of the placeholders that the White Hats have put in place. Definitely a baddie. So let's see what the universe wants us to know. Has this Governor Newsom 2.0, or the person seen in the public eye as Governor Newsom, is he set to FAFO? Let's find out. I'm going to switch the camera. We'll ask the cards and find out what they want to tell us. Okay, the person seen in the public eye as Governor Newsom. That will, if I'm wrong, and he's not a 2.0, but I'm 99.99% certain he is, will be covered either way. So the person seen in the public eye is Governor Newsom, who recently challenged President Trump to go ahead and arrest him because he was going to support the sanctuary state and city status that he has instituted there in Los Angeles. And let's find out. Is he set to F around and find out? They've already mobilized the National Guard. There are Marines that are ready to fast deploy and help. Let's find out. Okay, we have the Four of Swords, the Nine of Wands. There's my confirmation that he's a 2.0. We have the 10 of Swords. Then we have the Two of Cups, Knight of Cups, more cups with the Five of Cups, and the World card. I'm going to get two more cards before we're done and see how those layer into the information we're getting. First of all, we already know we're not going to get full disclosures here. There's some information that hasn't been made available to us yet, and that's okay. That's I abide by that when that shows up. So what I'm getting again, the 2.0 theory of mine is accurate, number one. Number two, this is actually the deep state is doing a lot of loose harvesting here, guys. So the less we can get emotionally involved with all this, the better. I'm going to speak to that a little bit more at the end of the video. And yeah, so there's a lot of shenanigans going on here. And one of my deep state cards showing up here as just us to know he is a 2.0. He's a deep state 2.0. He's up to shenanigans. Ultimately, it's not going to work out in his favor. This is kind of, these are among the last stands of the deep state. So there we go. Let's get those two other cards I said I would get for this read. We've got the Nine of Cups, more cups, and then the Four of Pentacles. So the situation can be dealt with without expending a whole lot of services, deploying, thousands and thousands of troops, what have you. The ICE agents do need to be supported. They do need to be safe as they conduct their job because it's lawful what they're doing and it's legal, and they need to be able to perform that job with as much safety as possible and without interference. So there is going to be that very astute amount of assistance given to generate that safety and to avoid any kind of accusations of undue force and issues with endangering citizens unduly by that mobilization and forces. So we got some events coming up, guys, and there is going to be some physical damage. We know there's going to be anytime there's these brick protests, the brick and paid, mostly peaceful, fiery protests, a lot of looting going on, things like that. People take advantage of the situation. They really don't have necessarily a genuine love for the agenda. A lot of these are paid provocateurs, and that's showing up here with this card too. And just keep your eyes on the prize, guys. Okay, our world is heading to a better place despite these shenanigans. Absolutely is. So let's recap. We were asking, is the Governor Newsom in California, is he about set to, has he set himself up to F around and find out? We didn't get a hard yes, but we got some interesting information from the universe because we left ourselves open for some general insights. First of all, confirmation that my theory that this man is a 2.0, the recent past card, at least as far as universal timing goes, yes, the original is long gone, and there's more information than my question elicited, and there's more information that will be coming out about these situations. There's going to be continue to be property damage, and it's deliberate. And there are paid provocateurs that are being paid to take part in this, as we know, central casting type of things. What's going on though? It's the distraction of the week. It's a thing we're supposed to be talking about that's taking our energy, our focus, and putting it on. And that's very much in play here. The so we got it's deep state shenanigans, and ultimately we're going to move past these. Now, I wanted to speak about that before I close the video. I was watching a content creator that works with energy, vibration, frequency, and that person had noted that the energy being solicited or prompted by this coverage, these actions, no matter what side you're on, if you think that, we should welcome everybody and illegals should be made legal, or if you're pro deportation and come back in the right way, like others have, including my grandparents. So, both sides are we're getting encouraged to give our focus, our energy to this type of thing. I send up some prayers. Just that those that are harvesting that negative energy deliberately, they're eliciting it, planning to harvest it, that it be withheld from them and sent to be transmuted, purified, repurposed for positive, loving things. So, in other words, the energy that's trying to be, the momentum that's trying to be started here with these, they're trying to do another summer of love type of thing with these mostly peaceful. Okay, first of all, I think a lot of us are smart enough not to play, number one. Number two, a lot of us are smart enough to realize that 90% of the people in these aren't necessarily sheep, but they're, unemployed, paid provocateurs that see this as an opportunity to have their moment of fame, have some fun, be destructive without too much consequence happening, and maybe even get a little looting in and bring some goodies home to mom and dad. So that's going on too. But we need to just be saying, hey, we want any energy that's being drawn from these actions, from this coverage. We'd like all that energy to be bundled up and sent to be purified and repurposed and not available to feed the beast. I think that's going to be pretty effective and something we ought to consider doing. So if this element of my message aligns with something that you would be willing to pray for or meditate on or give your intention to, please do so. Okay, let's not let them be successful in energy gathering unless it's positive, loving, peaceful, light-filled, all the good stuff that we want, the opposition that evil doesn't. That's it for this video. I thank you so much for your time, your attention, and joining me on some of these rabbit trails and listening with, an open mind to some of Laura's views. And then we all enjoy the tarot too. Until next time, if you're willing to receive it, I send you love, light, and I wish for you everything bright. Bye.